I'm Alberto with CloneOps, and we are plugged in with our friends at Highway today. So we're joined by Will and Jason. Will is the SVP of Product and Strategic Partnerships. Jason leads as VP of Partnerships. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
So I'm personally super excited that we're able to connect today, dive into our partnership. We're transforming carrier vetting, carrier screening with AI and our carrier screening agent. So before we dive in, I'd love to hear Highway's all the buzz right now, a lot of news happening. So maybe Will, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, I know a lot of exciting things at Highway, as we think about fraud prevention and protection across, that broker's ecosystem. It happens in many ways. And so continuing to add depth to the products that are out there and new products that kind of satisfy and help, along that the life cycle of the transaction, protect it and, allow the good actors to have better opportunity. So it's not just protecting the bad, but it's also giving the good guys more space to operate.
And Jason, you've made some big progress on the partnership side of things. What's going on there?
Yeah, things are really exciting at Highway. We're growing fast. As Will said, we're expanding our product portfolio around our core pillars and building on our strengths, keeping our mission clear, though, and it's helping brokers, but we're also helping our partners. We recently announced a partner portal and some new training and functionality that it's around helping our partners and creating a mutually beneficial experience for everyone that we go to market with. So it's exciting times right now.
Perfect. And Will, as we dive in, so carrier vetting has always been a pain point, right? Highway came to market several years ago, really solving and providing value for brokers, as was mentioned. Can you talk about what you're seeing in the industry or what the industry is up against today, and maybe where AI fits and what you're seeing in the AI space today?
Yeah, I think we'll take the fraud question first on, kind of what we're seeing. I think the evolution of where things historically had come from, which is really more about just carrier qualifications. And then once the carrier is qualified, anybody that said they were part of the carrier was kind of trusted as part of that. Obviously that, the proliferation of DFMs and digital load boards and things like that, and, the reduction of friction to get into those, right, obviously opened up a lot more opportunities for these bad actors to get in and operate as a carrier. So I think identity was, obviously the biggest thing, to that was missing for all that, in addition to the entity and what their capabilities are. But that's still an issue today, right? I mean, there are companies that the two biggest vectors we're seeing today are sold MC numbers and compromised inboxes, where they're being phished or they're giving out their information, and so they no longer have access solely to themselves for that email, or they're selling an MC number with all of that contact information. I think what's super powerful as you pivot that information to being leveraged within the broker workflow is within the biggest communication channels, right? And those are going to be phone, voice, and email. And so what we've worked together on here to put in really brings a lot of the power of what a user would have to go do manually, right, and cross-reference a couple different things to be within milliseconds, blocking fraud, also providing value and context to the users and the engines that's automating workflows right through the life cycle of that transaction. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit more to that. So what we're calling it so far is a carrier screening agent. And essentially what it does is it answers the call. So it's an inbound call from a broker. Like it stands up on the broker side. The carrier calls in, the agent picks up the call. It's going to ask, what's your DOT number? We'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to take that data. It's going to call Highway's API, right? Get that information and come back to the carrier and say, yes, you are approved for some next steps, or no, you are not approved. And then from there, based on the broker's workflows, it'll either transfer and say, hey, let's connect you to a representative where we can give you our onboarding packet or get some more information, or it'll end the call just based on what we want the outcome activity to be. Curious to hear what has some early feedback been, or what are you hearing from customers or across the industry on how these agents are performing or the value that it's providing?
Yeah, I think, a lot of good feedback early on. I think there is, we're at the infancy stages in a lot of this, which is really exciting because there's a lot of problems that can be solved. I think the initial use cases that we're trying to solve for, right, are really providing a lot of value. Because today, this is, the things that are happening together with what we're doing, right, is taking a person 60, 90, minute and a half on every one of these calls to figure this out, right? And so if you stack that up over the course of time across your entire workforce, right? Just the value alone for them to go do better things, more valuable things for the organization to find long-term carrier relationships, procurement is huge. So I think the feedback as far as like unlocking time to do other things is probably been the biggest thing so far. And then ultimately just getting rid of the bad actors and not allowing them to interact with. There's, back in my broker days, like having this and not have to worry about like, what do I need to go look for? Does the domain spoofed? Is this happening with the phone number? Are they, trying to pretend to be this? To have the level of protection and intelligence within the workflows that we have here to just set somebody up for success, to be like, hey, you need to focus on what's actually your job, which is covering this load from point A to point B, servicing the customer, and potentially making a profit for your organization to continue to grow the business.
Then having the agent be that gatekeeper, right? Even not allowing that bad actor to even connect with somebody within your organization. And then I think the access, or the instant access to all the data, right? So rather than having the human have to sift through, whether it's within the Highway app or within their TMS or what other tools they might be using, being able to pull everything in real time and provide a response, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said before, just the 15 years of freight brokerage it's just like to have a lot of this stuff on, like, it just unlocks so much potential and value. And ultimately it makes the lives of the managers and the employees easier, because there's, things that are just happening that need to happen, but I don't need to go spend 40 hours on training these people for all these different fraud vectors. And if you need to go check this, if you see this, or you go there, you see this, we've, together with what the integration is, at least now, and then ultimately where things can go in the future, right? It's starting to scratch the surface, really.
Perfect. And Jason, if somebody wanted to get started, we know the agent is now live. Where do they go? Who do they reach out to over at Highway?
Yeah, thanks for that. We're really excited. Of course, you can go to highway.com or just, visit CloneOps.ai. You can find us at one of the upcoming conferences. We love to get out there and meet the people of our industry and see how we can add value to their operation. But you can reach out to sales@highway.com.
Perfect. And any final thoughts on the partnership as we head out?
Yeah. I think it's important, and thinking about it, I think it's really our responsibility as partner leaders to actively seek out those relationships where we can provide our mutual customers with benefit from that integration, from that collaboration. And I think that's really what we have here with Highway and CloneOps. You got your AI-driven protection embedded inside a Highway, and that kind of takes the experience above and beyond. And to me, that's really what fostering relationships and the partnerships like this is all about. So I'm really excited about where this can take us, and really the benefit it's going to add to our customers.
I agree with you. And it's all about providing value, right? And that joint value proposition that we can bring to market together. So I appreciate that.
Yep.
All right. So I'll close this out. Thank you all for joining us on this segment of Plugged In, where we show what happens when real automation meets real freight operations. Have a good day.